As a FIP district, really, we see Sutter as our kind of our first step in the sense that our very youngest learners are able to have FIP in action.
We've created a FIP school. And in our FIP school, I can go into any class and I can tell what children are learning. Just by looking in the classroom, I can tell what the learning targets are.
To be a co-developer in a FIP school has been really fun and energizing to see the transformation that our building has made. I would say 4 years ago, we started just by completing the modules.
Formative instructional practice is something that was really brand new when I started watching the modules and learning it through it. And I was like, wow, it's like this is something new. Then we started talking together, a lot of the teachers did, and talking about what we were already doing in the classroom. So it was kind of neat to say, hey, we are doing some of these things.
The teachers really started to understand that we were already doing FIP. We just didn't call it that.
Our staff, when we looked at it, we felt, oh gosh, this, is a lot different from preschool. However, there was a small group of us who began and said, well, how can FIP look and sound like in our building?
Our school, is one of those schools that is very creative, and if it can be figured out, they are just going to figure it out. They just don't take no for an answer. It's just amazing to me that these children are feeling responsible for having that knowledge.
At first I was like, wow, can preschoolers really do this? And if you ask them, like, no, they can't, but they can absolutely do that. And that's probably the greatest thing in the world, to see kids take that ownership.
We have ways that we ask them, where are you in your learning? Do you know this, or do you need some more time? And so they answer that question, and the kids are so honest about where they are.
We have professional learning communities that are spending time dialoguing about what this could look like in the classroom, challenging each other based on knowing each other's students and having opportunities to really dig in on it.
We began, diving deeper and going into one another's classrooms and observing and saying, well, I think this is effective feedback or student ownership and things like that. So really getting into each other's classrooms and observing one another really helped develop it.
I have seen the community, particularly in Sutter Park, with our staff evolve in that they bought into FIP wholeheartedly.
To be part of a FIP community or a member, the big thing I think is the collaboration that we have, that we all come together, we talk about it. I can walk down the hallway if I'm having difficulty figuring out how to break down a standard or break down something.
It can be as easy as we're walking down the hall and we see a teacher using something that we are like, ooh, what's that? Or just using a phrasing that seems interesting, that we can, after school, maybe just stop down and say, what was that idea? That looked really neat. How can you share that with me?
I love seeing everything that everyone is doing, because I learn just from walking down the hallways what I can be doing in my own room. So, it's really helped me focus my teaching.
Our implementing formative instructional practices basically as a building has been a really educational experience for me. I feel like it's been an opportunity for we as a teaching staff to speak in a common language, work toward common goals, and really learn from each other.
Worthington is a community that is changing. Our community is much more diverse than it was a decade or so ago, and I think that being a FIP district is very helpful in a diverse environment, because we hear that these practices work on all of our students. And if everyone understands what the target is and everyone is speaking the same language, really we're able to close some of those gaps, and we as a district can use those as targets, focus on that, and then bring all of our students together.
What's been really nice is we have a wonderful group of parents. We have several community partners that we've been able to share these experiences with and really create a foundational use of these practices throughout the building and our Worthington community.
Some things that I know that's happening in these classrooms are that children are making some amazing gains. I see children walking down the hall doing things that I didn't know that they were going to make progress that fast. So those are things that I see.
What we hear from our families and our staff within the district is that our learners that started with FIP as young learners, pre-K, really do come in with that nice building block. They already have the vocabulary, they already have some of that student ownership that we want all of our students to have. And so Sutter is an excellent foundation and building block towards that whole FIP district education.